Hi everyone. Today's video is going to be an update to a video I made previously about the quoting and itinerary feature built into the system now. Once we released that and let users start kind of playing around in there, we had several suggestions on things that we should update or change or add. So we've made a lot of changes since the last video. So even if you watched the last video, this one will still be probably beneficial to you. So I do recommend you watch it to help you get started with using these and using them efficiently. So a couple of things to go over first. To access this page that I'm on here, you just go to Utilities and Quotes and Itineraries, and it'll take you to this screen. Now I have all of these sections collapsed right now just so you can see at a glance what all the sections are. One thing to note too for admin users, admins can add templates or edit templates to either the agency sections or the personal sections. Non-admins by default cannot edit or add any to the agency sections, but they can duplicate items that someone else has created and put in there into their own personal section if they wanted to edit slightly one that's already in there. There is a setting though for agency admins that can give non-admins access to add agency itineraries or agency components or anything like that. If you go into manage users and click edit next to a user's name, there's this checkbox here where they can edit, create and edit system templates. So if you check that and save, that non-admin can help you create templates for whatever it is that you need. Anyway, back to this page now. So there are sections for itineraries, quotes, and components. So components are the pieces that you're going to put in, that you're going to plug into a quote or an itinerary. So just to give you an idea, if we look at the global section here, and let's just say Punta Cana here. If I click on that, these are the templates that I have created for resorts in Punta Cana. So you can use the components for things like transportation. You could do some sort of folder for agency information, like things that you want to put in quotes, whether it be terms and conditions or COVID warnings or anything like that. That's not a hotel or a cruise or anything like that. And then these sections here, the itinerary or quote sections, these are where you're going to create an actual quote, put everything together, or create an actual itinerary, put everything together that you're actually going to send to the client. Now, if you're just getting started with this, the first thing I recommend you do is you go into default settings here and set this stuff up. Basically, this one-time action will save you a lot of time every time you need to create a quote or an itinerary. So I'm going to click here, and I've done some of this already. So the quotes have a book now button that the client can click on, and the idea is that will take them to your registration form on your website that they can then fill out to actually tell you they want to book and what they want to book. So I've got a link to the demo account forms here. You can also put in a default logo in here for your agency, and then there's going to be a spot where you can put in the template for the email that you're going to use to send either an itinerary to a client or a quote to a client. Now you'll notice these merge fields here. There's an itinerary URL and a quote URL. You have to have that in the email templates, because the way this works is when you send it to the client, let's say it's a quote, it's going to send them an email that says this, and they're going to have an actual link here that they're going to click on to view the actual quote. So you do need to have that in there or it won't let you send it. And then every quote or itinerary also has a main image at the top. So you can upload up to 10 default main images here, so you can use them on several quotes, so you don't have to look for a new image every single time. I think most users will kind of come up with one or two for each type of trip. One for a Caribbean or Mexico trip, one or two for a European trip, one for a party style trip, whatever it may be. One thing to note on these is you really need to find something that is a picture that is very much wider than it is tall. Because the way it's designed is it's going to automatically resize in order to span the width of the quote. And if you use something like a really square image, it's going to be very, very tall. So if you look at these here, if I go back to the folder I have with the main images, you can see I've cropped most of these in order for them to look better on there. So you may want to, find something that's already wider than it is tall, and even then crop it some more just so it'll look better on there. And then you're going to just go ahead and save these default settings that you've created in here. Alright, now again, agency is agency-wide, personal is just for you. So I think I've talked to a lot of agencies that have started using this already, and I think what most are doing is they're using the agency section for the components, but when it comes to actually sending a quote or an itinerary, they are using the personal sections because you're creating a quote specific to your client for that specific trip. So I don't think there's a real big need for you to share that with other agents, because they're not going to quote that exact same trip to the exact same person probably ever. So if you don't want to clog up the agency section, you can put everything in the personal section for yourself. Now on creating these things, basically you can change the folder structure however you want. First, what I would recommend is look through the global section and see what we have already created for you. You're welcome to use these as is. You're welcome to edit them as you see fit. Now, you will not have an option to edit anything that's in the global section. That's basically a shared folder for all accounts. So if you do want to edit anything that's in here, what you can do is you could either copy or duplicate the entire folder to your agency section, or if you've already created a folder in here and you just want to grab, say, one thing out of here, you can go into the folder and then duplicate that one item down to the agency or even personal section. Once it's in there, you will have an option to edit it, so you can change it however you'd like. There's also this search box up here, so if you're looking for a specific hotel, you can see I searched Excellence earlier. You can see these are the ones that I've created so far, or that are in the system on this account. So it tells you the template name, which folder it's in, and which section it is in. So agency, global, you can see I've got them each one in both sections there. And just to give you an idea on what these kind of look like if you haven't already looked, I'll just click on one here, and you can see here's one for dreams. And these are pre-created just to kind of save you time. If there's something you don't like about the format or the template or the pictures that are used or any of that, you again are welcome to duplicate it to your agency or personal section and then edit it however you see fit and save those changes. So now it's changed for your account, and you can continue to use the one that you've edited. You don't have to edit it every single time to change those 2 or 3 things you don't like about this. Or you can create them from scratch. If nothing about this is anything that you like, you can just create your own from scratch. You don't have to use anything in the global. Now, as far as creating these, I'm going to kind of go through how to do that. And one that I have not created yet would be Excellence El Carmen. So if you look in here, it is not in there. So what I could do is I could just go here and add a component template, and it's going to give me basically a blank slate for me to fill everything out. I've got to name it. This is typically going to be, the name of the resort. This will be what displays on there. So if you do an abbreviation of some sort up here, write it out fully here so when the client sees it, they will see that. You're going to select what category it's going to be. So in this example, it would be a hotel. Select which folder you want it to go in. And then this is where you're going to enter all of the details for that. Now, what I've found is faster is, rather than create one from scratch every single time, is find one that's very similar, maybe the same brand, maybe a different destination, something like that, that's similar that you've already created, and just duplicate it and then change what you need to in there. So I'm going to go to the Cancun folder here, and I'm going to use Excellence Riviera Cancun, and I'm just going to duplicate that, and I'm going to make the changes that I need to. So I'm going to change the name, and then I'm going to change the folder that it goes in. So let me check here. You won't have all these global folders here up at the top. You'll just have the agency or personal. So I need to put this in the Punta Cana folder. And then I'm going to delete the main image, obviously, because that's not right for this particular hotel. And then I'm going to just very quickly go through and delete all of the other pictures. And you can drag this to make it bigger so you can see more at once. So I'm going to go through, delete this, and then I'm going to delete all the room pictures. And then I'm also going to delete the 5 additional secondary images here. And then I just need to change this information to the info from Excellence El Carmen, or to Excellence El Carmen. So if you go to, say, the Excellence website, what I always do first is I have a folder, for each resort here. So I've started saving some pictures that I might want to use in here. So if I want to save this one, I'll just pop that in there. Oh, I guess I've already done that one. So anyway, you're going to save whatever ones you want in there first, and then you can put those in your template later. So basically you're going to go through, change all of this info, room categories, change all that, and just if you want it to match what we've already created, the font we are using is Railway, size 12 throughout the entire template here. As far as pictures go, I have been putting kind of a main picture somewhere like right here, and that one I just picked 600 width. And so when you insert a picture, so let's say I want this one, and then I just put 600 width, and it'll calculate the height and then pop it in there. Or if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to put a video in here instead, we can delete that out of there. And let's say Excellence has a YouTube channel, and we've got Excellence El Carmen here. So I can just copy this, and then I can go in here, and there's a button here to insert or edit media, and you put the source in, and again let's make this 600 and click OK. And it won't display here, but let's just go ahead and create this. And then preview the template. And now you can see it's an actual clickable video that the client would see. Now in the previous video, what I had mentioned was when you get into the room categories, let's go to the website here. And let's just pick this room category here. What I was doing previously would be I would just copy and paste the pictures into there, but I didn't realize something that I'll show you here as soon as this loads. Alright, so let's say I want to use this picture. What I was doing prior to this is just copying this image and pasting it in. What I didn't realize though is when you do that, Let's see if it does it on this one. If I just pop it in here and then I click image, is it copies and pastes the link to that image from the website that you grabbed it from. So what that means is if Excellence changes their website, they redesign it, and those links change, your pictures will no longer show up. So what you're going to want to do is actually save the picture to your computer and then just use this button here to insert the image. That way it's uploading it to the VCRM servers so that you can it'll always be in there. There's no worry about them changing their website. So anyway, that's kind of how you do it. You're going to put in your main image up here at the top. You're going to add any additional images. You can also attach documents or files to this. So if you have like a PDF fact sheet or something, put your cursor where you want it to go, click select files, select it, click upload, save along the way. So that's how you create them. Once they are all created, when you want to go to actually send a quote to a client, I'm going to use personal quote templates where I'm going to put it. But one thing I've done is I have some components that I might use in every single quote. So like this additional info here, I've got a one for ready for your vacation, where I've got a template of what the dates are, how many adults and children, what pricing includes, what the deposit information is, things like that. And then I've also got this next step. So these are things that I would probably use on every quote. So one thing I did is I created an agency quote folder for master templates, and then this is duplicate this template for all quotes. So basically, rather than me having to add those two items every single time, I have created a template that I can use, and I put those in there already. So I can add other information in addition to this. It just saves me two things that I need to add every time. But I'm going to not use this in this case. I'm just going to create one from scratch just to kind of show you how it works. So let's just go into the test folder, click add template. Now this template name, this is what you're going to see when you're selecting it. So you're going to want to name it something that you're going to recognize. So like something like that. It's going to go in that folder. And because I already set up those default settings, you can see here I already have the subject and the body typed out. And then do I want to upload a new main image, or do I want to use one of the default main images? So I can select whichever one I want. Let's just use this one and click use selected image. So now that's there. And then down here is where you're going to actually add the components. So if you need to add something that you don't have a template created for, you can just click add new component template. But since I already have all of that stuff, I'm just going to click here and try to add them in order so you don't have to rearrange anything. So at the beginning of mine, I want that ready for your vacation. So I'm going to go into, let's go to global section here, additional info. That's the first thing I want. When you click this, it's going to show that it was added. This is one thing that's different from the last video. Prior to this, when you'd click this, it would close all of this, and then you'd have to go back into the template, click add new component again. You'd have to keep clicking that button. Now you don't have to do that. You're just going to go through and click whatever you want. So let's do Cancun, and let's say we want Hard Rock as an option. So that's been added. And let's just say Grand at Moon Palace, and we'll say Azul Beach. So now those three have been added, and then I also want to add the next steps at the bottom. Right, so now that everything is added, the only thing I have to do is click back to folders and get to this, and then click back to editor. And now you're going to see all of that stuff has been entered for me. Now let's say I do need to change the order of something on here. So we'll say we want Grand at Moon Palace to be the top first option. So I just grab here, hold my mouse down, start dragging, and then I drop it wherever I want it to go. So in this case I want it on top. So I just drop it there, and now it's the second item. And then what you're going to want to do is go through and edit these as you go, and cater it to this client's trip. So you're going to come in, edit this, you're going to remove the things I've highlighted, you're going to say, you know, how many adults and children it's for, what dates, here's what the pricing includes, and then click save. And then I want to do the same thing for each hotel. So if you look at the templates we've created, all of the hotel templates typically have every room category listed because it's faster to delete something you don't need rather than, you know, start from scratch and add a bunch of stuff. So basically I'm going to go down to the room categories here, and this is where I'm going to delete any rooms that I'm not going to offer this particular client. So let's say I'm not going to offer them the deluxe garden view room. I'm just going to delete all of this, and make sure you fix the spacing. I've been putting one space in between each item, so we'll delete the empty spacing, and then you can put your pricing in however you want. Like maybe you want to put, you know, like this. Maybe you want to highlight it so it stands out to the client, and, you know, go through, delete out what you don't need, save what you do, and then click save, and then move on to the next item. So you're going to do that for all 3 hotels, and when you get done you need to go down to the very bottom down here and click save and close. And once that is done and it's already created, you're going to go to your client's lead, so we'll just say this is the lead for this client, and you're going to click send quote. I don't remember which folder I put that in. There it is. So I'm going to select this one, and it's going to give you a summary of what that will look like at this point in time. So scroll through, make sure everything looks good, and click send quote. Now it's not going to send quite yet. There's one more step here. So here's where you're going to put in the quote title. That's the title that the client will see at the top of, with that main image here. So and it's going to load all of this, and you have one last chance to edit anything that you don't want to include or you do want to add into this. But let's pretend we got everything as needed, and we're going to click send. And now it's just going to send that to the client. There was a checkbox I should have mentioned on there where you can have it send you a copy of it if you'd like, but I didn't check that, so I didn't receive an email for that. And now if you look down here in the quotes, you can see that I sent myself or sent this client this, and the status is sent. Now if they've clicked on this, it will show seen, so you can tell if the client looked at it. You can view it to see what it'll look like or what the client will see. So this is what this client would have seen. And they can click here to go see, you know, specifically this resort if they were more excited about that. They can also click on here to minimize stuff to make it a little more manageable to scroll through. It's up to them. Now let's say you realized you forgot to do something on here, or forgot to put something in. You can do is you can come in here and click resend, and then you can edit it as needed and then send it again. Now we just made an update a couple weeks ago to where the link stays the same even if you resend it or change it, so the client could still click on that first email that you sent them and it will take them to whatever template is current. So if you made changes from the time you sent it and the time they looked at it, all they will see is the new updated one. So you really don't even have to send it to the client. You could change this to your own email address and just send it to yourself, but sending that is actually saving the changes that you made as well. And that's really all there is to it. The itineraries is very much the same, with the exception of there's no, you know, book now button at the bottom. I don't believe there's comments box at the bottom either. So it's more for after the fact to send the client information prior to their trip, whether you want to use this kind of like travel documents or an actual itinerary of, in order, here's what you're going to do each day, or here's what you're going to have on your trip, things like that. So give it a try. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.